hit the bridge just as the sun starts bleeding out over the horizon, throwing the last of its rust-colored light across the river. Freetown looms on the other side, jagged and broken, a skeleton of what it used to be. 30 people live here, give or take. The kind of place that doesn't care if you're dead or alive as long as you've got something to trade. The bike hums beneath me, steady, cutting through the wind like it knows the way by heart. Bridge creaks under the weight of it. Everything creaks on this island. The bones of old buildings, the bodies they left behind. Even the damn air feels like it's groaning. I can see the town up ahead, tucked in behind makeshift walls of scrap metal and driftwood. A desperate little bubble pretending it's not sinking. Freetown's always been a place where nothing grows but bad habits. Western style, someone once called it, like those old vids of dusty frontier towns where the air smells like gunpowder and regret. But here, it's more like rot and rust, a row of shacks with patched roofs, a saloon that serves as the local watering hole, and the trader's place, squatting at the end of the dirt road like it's too tired to stand up straight. I park the bike in front of the trader's shop, boots hitting the ground, the engines hum, giving way to the heavy silence of the place. No one looks up. They've all got their heads down, focused on whatever scrap of survival they've managed to cling to today. Most of them don't even know how to look anyone in the eye anymore. Maybe they're afraid the island will see them, decide it's their turn. The trader's shop isn't much to look at. A shack built out of pieces of things that never should have been stuck together. Rusted out cars, old billboard signs, whatever was lying around when they decided to put this place up. The sign out front's long faded, just a smear of old colors. But it doesn't matter. If you've made it this far, you already know where to go. I haul my loot off the bike, a burlap sack slung over my shoulder, and push through the door. Inside smells like metal and sweat, the kind that sinks into your skin and stays there. The trader's in the back, sorting through a pile of scrap that could have been a radio in another life. He doesn't look up when I walk in. "Found anything good, Soske?" he asks, finally dragging his eyes up from the pile of junk, one eye squinting against the dim light filtering through the cracked windows. "The usual," I say, flipping open the burlap sack with a quick motion. A couple of old electronics, a handful of ammo clips, a half-decent machete with a chipped edge. It's nothing special, but out here, nothing special is still worth something. He reaches in, slow and methodical, the way someone picks through the bones of an old carcass. Fingers run over each item, feeling for cracks, weighing them in his palm. The trader's good at this. He's always known how to size up loot, find its worth, or more often, find a reason to tell you it's worth less than you think. The machete's first. He pulls it out, holds it up to the light, then runs a thumb along the blade, checking for nicks. His mouth twitches, but I can't tell if it's a grin or a grimace. "Not bad," he mutters, setting it aside. I lean on the counter, watching as he pulls out the rest. A couple of rusted radios, a few old batteries, and the ammo clips I found half buried in an old supply dump. He inspects each one like it's some kind of ancient artifact, nodding occasionally but never giving away too much. "What do you want for this lot?" he asks finally, placing the last piece on the counter. "Ammo," I say, crossing my arms, "and food. Enough to last a few days." His lips twist, the beginning of that familiar game. "The machete's worth the food," he says, tapping the blade with a dirty fingernail. "But the rest? I don't know. These clips look like they've seen better days." "They'll fire," I say, keeping my voice flat. "They always fire." He raises an eyebrow, considering, then reaches under the counter, pulls out a small tin of canned food, a couple of vacuum-sealed packs of something that might have been beef once. Then, with a grunt, he slides a small box of ammo across the counter. 5 rounds, he says. "That's as far as I'll go." I flick my eyes toward the ammo box. 5 rounds is low, even for him. But the way things have been lately, it's enough to keep me moving. I nod. The trade is done. As I slide the supplies into my pack, I ask, "Any bounties?" He shakes his head, slow. "Nothing. It's been quiet lately. Too quiet, you ask me. I grunt, pulling the strap of the bag over my shoulder. Quiet's dangerous here. Quiet means people are waiting for something to go wrong. But, he continues, voice dropping a notch, I might have something for you. I stop, eyes narrowing. Go on. He leans forward a little, resting his elbows on the counter. I sent Rick up north, to the city. He was supposed to make a trade. Something special. Trade was going down at the old gas station on the edge of town, but no word from Rick for over a week now. I study him. The way his eyes shift slightly when he says is something special. Trade with who? Contact of mine, he says, too quick. Not someone you know. And what was Rick trading for? He shrugs, like it's no big deal, but I know better. Doesn't matter what it was. What matters is Rick didn't come back, and I need him. Or what he was supposed to bring. There's a container. Don't open it. Just bring it back here. I watch his face, trying to read between the lines. You want me to bring him or the container? Exactly. Either Rick or the package. Doesn't matter which, as long as you bring something back. Whatever went wrong out there, I need it sorted. The island's not kind to people who go missing. Either Rick's dead or worse. He's tangled up in something he can't crawl out of. But now there's a new layer to the job. The package. And whatever's in it, the trader's making sure I know not to ask. Fine, I say, but it's going to cost you. The trader smiles, thin and sharp. Everything does. I sling the bag over my shoulder and step out of the trader's shop. The air outside feels heavier, like it's clinging to the last bit of daylight before night swallows the town whole. My boots crunch on the gravel as I walk back to the bike, the weight of the deal hanging on my mind. Rick or the container, either one. Don't ask questions, just get it done. That's how things work here. I store the loot on the back of the bike, securing it tight. Ammo, food, enough to keep me moving. The trader's smile lingers in the back of my mind, sharp and knowing. He always has a way of making you feel like you're walking into something bigger than you want to. Maybe this is no different. Maybe it is. I head down the dirt road toward the saloon. The doors are half off their hinges, barely holding together, but they still swing when I push through. The place smells like sweat and dust, the kind that sticks in your throat and stays there. There's a couple of locals at the far end, hunched over their drinks, but nobody looks up. Freetown's good at minding its own business. I take a seat at the bar, and the barman nods without a word. He knows me well enough by now. A glass of whiskey slides across the counter, smooth as it gets around here. I take a sip, the burn spreading through my chest, loosening the edges of the day. Quiet lately, I say, keeping my voice low, casual. The barman grunts. Mostly. Few groups passing through, but nothing major. I nod, swirling the whiskey in my glass. What about the tidebreakers? Heard they've been pushing south. He shakes his head. Nah, they're still up north. Folkloric pirates, like they think this island's still got treasure buried somewhere, but they're sticking to their side of the river. Good news, maybe. Tidebreaker territory's where I'm headed. Pirates living out some fantasy of wooden ships and sea battles in a place where the water's long since turned to poison. The further I stay out of their way, the better. And the hive? I ask, leaning in a little. Paramilitary, organized, like they've still got a war to win. Clear, he says, wiping down the counter with a rag that's seen better days. Haven't seen any of them for a while. Guess they're holed up somewhere, planning whatever it is they plan. I take another sip, letting the info sink in. The hive's dangerous, more dangerous than the tidebreakers. If they're quiet, it means they're waiting for something. Waiting's always worse than action on this island. The barman looks at me sideways, like he knows where I'm going with this. You heading north? Maybe. He grunts again, like that's enough of an answer. Keep your eyes open. Pirates will smile in your face while they gut you from behind. Don't they all? I down the rest of the whiskey in one shot, the burn steady this time. The sun's gone now, the sky turned to bruised purple, and the cold's already creeping in. I stand up, toss a few bullets on the counter for the drink, and turn toward the door. The barman doesn't say goodbye, doesn't need to. I step back out into the night, the door creaking shut behind me, the sound muffled by the thick, stale air. The streets are empty, the air is colder. Every sound feels sharper at night, the creak of old metal, the wind brushing through skeletal trees, and my own boots crunching against the cracked asphalt. The town's got its own pulse, slow and dragging, like it's waiting for something to finish it off for good. But it's still here, clinging on in the shadows like everything else on this godforsaken island. I need sleep. Not that I'll get much. Not with the weight of this job hanging over me. But for a few hours, I'll lay my head down and pretend the world's not about to chew me up and spit me out.